During a dinner, young Eric inadvertently drops his fork. His stepfather seizes this opportunity to teach him a stern lesson, while his biological mother, feeling powerless, tolerates the violence, believing it will instill discipline in Eric. After the incident, an enraged Eric is compelled to shake hands with his stepfather, symbolizing reconciliation. This cycle of violence becomes a recurring theme in Eric's life, only stoking more hostility. To let out his anger, Eric begins to assault his classmates. One day, Eric loses control and savagely attacks a friend. His classmates, paralyzed by fear due to Eric's reputation for violence, remain bystanders. Known for his volatile temper and frequent involvement in fights, this incident provokes the school principal to intervene. He summons Eric to his office and immediately expels him. However, Eric remains indifferent to the principal's intolerance of his behavior. As he departs, the principal issues a stern warning. Meanwhile, Eric's mother sells some family artwork to set up a fund for him, hoping it will enable him to continue his education. Later, she introduces Eric to her friend, Gunnar, a lawyer. Gunnar hands Eric his business card and extends his help should Eric ever need it. Confused, Eric merely stares at the card, unsure of how to respond. After Gunnar leaves, Eric's mother expresses her disappointment in him over his expulsion. She then discloses that she has enrolled him in Stjarnsberg, an all-boys boarding school. She insists that this is his last chance and expects him to take it seriously, steering clear of any further trouble. Eric nods in understanding, promising to better his behavior. He commits to graduating without another expulsion on his record. Upon his arrival at Stjarnsberg, Eric adopts a school uniform and a short haircut. His roommate is the friendly and relaxed top student, Pierre. As evening falls, Eric and Pierre head to the dining hall for dinner. It is here that Eric meets another student, Johan, who enlightens him about the social hierarchy of the school. Johan explains that the treatment one receives at Stjarnsberg is completely dependent on their social status. As Johan wraps up his explanation, Otto and Alain, two students from noble families sitting at the far end of the table, address the student sitting next to Eric. This student, Otto, comes from a common family, while Otto and Alain, due to their noble descent, regularly harass less privileged students. Their family's influence and their roles on the student council enable them to act with impunity. After dinner, Pierre invites Eric for a smoke. Eric initially refuses, remembering a promise he made to his mother. Johan warns them about the harsh penalties if they are caught, but Pierre assures Eric they won't be. Eventually, Eric agrees. The following morning at breakfast, Otto and Alain invite Eric to join their group, a ritual for new students. Eric firmly declines, causing Johan to bear their wrath. After Otto hits him on the head, Johan suffers a severe injury and is quickly taken away by medical staff for treatment. That evening, Otto and Dylan plan their next initiation session, this time targeting Eric directly. They call Eric to their headquarters, instructing him to clean a pile of dirty shoes. However, Eric defies them once more and leaves abruptly. Dylan, fuming with anger, asks Otto how they should deal with Eric's defiance. Otto, maintaining his calm, suggests they ignore Eric for the time being. Eric shares the events of the day with Pierre. Pierre's expression turns grave as he advises Eric against further defiance of Otto and Delaine, warning that those who oppose them inevitably face retribution. Eric, once a bully himself, dismisses Pierre's warning, declaring he fears them not and won't blindly follow their commands. That evening, Eric and Pierre craft a plan to resist Otto and Dalin's bullying without resorting to violence. However, the task seems daunting, as most students would rather comply than risk harm. One day, Dalene accidentally bumps into Eric in the school corridor. Dalene demands an apology from Eric, but Eric insists that Dalene was the one at fault. Dalene's temper flares, and he challenges Eric to a fight at a predetermined location that night. Later, Pierre and Johan relay to Eric the location Delaine suggested for the fight. Pierre warns Eric that Otto and Delaine are notorious for fighting dirty. They always have backup. As night falls, Eric contemplates accepting Delaine's challenge, but he remembers his mother's advice to maintain good behavior for graduation. In his room, Pierre offers Eric a soothing cigarette. Meanwhile, Otto and Delaine spend hours waiting at the agreed fight location. When Eric doesn't show up, Otto smugly labels him a coward to the amusement of their followers. The next day, Otto publicly scolds students who continuously defy the student organization's rules, with Eric being the primary offender. In a mock trial, Otto, acting as the student council president, sentences Eric to a month of detention and assigns him the task of digging a 1-meter-deep trench around the school. Eric works on this task until late, resulting in him eating dinner alone in the hall as he can't finish on time. While Eric is eating, Maria, a cafeteria worker, approaches him. She seems attracted to Eric, noting that he reminds her of her brother, who, like Eric, also wouldn't bend to authority. As per his usual routine, Eric enjoys a smoke after his meal. Maria makes an unexpected appearance this time. She cautions Eric about the health risks of smoking, having detected the scent. Then, quite unexpectedly, Maria leans in, kisses Eric, and holds him close. Both are acutely aware of the school's strict rules against romantic relationships between students and staff, and the potential severe repercussions. Eric could face expulsion, and Maria could lose her job on the spot. Yet, that night, they both seem to disregard the rules. As the Christmas break arrives, Eric returns home. His mother greets him warmly, but his stepfather's reception is far from welcoming. He interrogates Eric about the various punishments he's received at school, including a suspension. Eric responds candidly, explaining his refusal to obey a fellow student who is the son of a powerful noble family at the school. His stepfather brushes off his explanations, insisting that a nobleman's son deserves respect and obedience. Due to his poor academic performance and the punishments at school, Eric's stepfather imposes additional sanctions on him. His mother, fully aware of her son's situation, chooses to turn a blind eye. When the Christmas break ends, Eric returns to school. The first thing he does is rush to see Maria, having missed her deeply. Under the moonlight, they reunite, holding each other close and expressing their longing for one another. Meanwhile, Otto and Alain revert to their usual mischief, plotting another prank on Eric. Their plan to douse Eric with dirty water while he sleeps goes off without a hitch. Waking up to the mess, Eric and Pierre quickly clean up. However, Eric decides he's had enough and it's time for payback. He quietly collects the leftover dirt and sneaks into Otto's room. After turning off the lights, he proceeds to dump all the dirt over a sleeping Otto. The next morning, in the dining hall, Eric decides to put on a show. He begins to sniff the air dramatically, pretending to trace an unusual smell. His act leads him straight to Otto, who is engrossed in his meal. Breaking the silence with a loud proclamation, Eric exclaims, "What's that foul smell?" "Ah, it's Otto, the smelly vitamin!" Humiliated and furious, Otto lunges at Eric, landing a punch on his face and attacking him relentlessly. Eric, however, refrains from retaliating, honoring a promise he made to his mother to avoid trouble. The school principal and teachers, seated nearby, seem to ignore the incident, continuing with their meal as if nothing has happened. Maria steps in, demanding that Otto stop his attack. Unable to overpower Eric, Otto and Alain decide to target Pierre, Eric's only friend at the school. At lunchtime, Otto beckons Pierre, who, puzzled about why he has upset Otto, refuses to come over. Otto, known for his stubbornness, does not back down. After the last class, he warns Pierre of severe consequences if he continues to ignore him. Otto and Alain's focus on Pierre is not just to provoke him, but also to unsettle Eric. As Pierre's closest friend, Eric will not stand idly by while his friend is threatened. Otto and his gang plan to confront Eric later, sending a clear message that defiance against them will not be tolerated. As night falls, Pierre is left with no choice but to accept Otto's challenge. He arrives alone at the agreed meeting place, where Otto, Delane, and their gang are waiting. Despite giving his all, Pierre finds himself overpowered. Otto effortlessly knocks Pierre to the ground with a single blow. Eric, his best friend, is conspicuously absent during this confrontation. He arrives too late to prevent Pierre's defeat and humiliation at the hands of Otto and his gang. All he can do is tend to Pierre's injuries and carry him back to their room, watching helplessly. Once Pierre is settled, Eric leaves the room. He spends the night in an intimate encounter with Maria. The next morning, Eric rushes back to the room, anxious about Pierre's condition. To his horror, he finds the room deserted. Pierre has vanished, leaving behind his belongings and a letter. In the letter, Pierre acknowledges Eric as a true friend and encourages him to continue the fight against Otto and his gang's oppression. Pierre's words inspire Eric, and his determination solidifies. He decides to seek justice for Pierre and the other students who have suffered under Otto's reign of terror. Eric wastes no time in confronting Delane in the dining hall, challenging him and Otto to a duel in the arena. An hour later, Eric stands alone in the arena, facing Delane and von Schenken. Despite their size and strength, they are no match for Eric's indomitable spirit. A shocked Otto watches as Eric easily defeats his strongest followers and warns him that he is next. Before his confrontation with Otto, Eric heads to the school kitchen to find Maria. A female staff member informs Eric that Maria has been dismissed and has already left the school, leaving a letter for Eric. Eric's heart is shattered once more due to Maria's sudden departure. A staff member delivers a letter to Eric, an event that doesn't go unnoticed by one of Otto's minions. The minion quickly reports back to Otto, who orders a thorough search of Eric's room. His henchmen rummage through Eric's belongings and eventually discover Maria's letter. Otto reads the letter, uncovering the clandestine relationship between Eric and Maria. Armed with this evidence, Otto now has the ammunition he needs to get Eric expelled. He swiftly presents the proof of Eric's misconduct to the principal. The principal immediately summons Eric and expels him for his severe misbehavior towards Maria. Despite his expulsion, Eric requests the return of Maria's letter, his only memento of her. The principal, however, refuses and securely stows the letter in his drawer. Now expelled and with nothing to lose, Eric is determined to exact revenge on Otto for the pain he has caused him at Starnsburg. He confronts Otto alone in the woods, brandishing a stick and ordering Otto to kneel. To Eric's surprise, Otto immediately complies, falling to his knees in abject fear. In a desperate bid to save himself, Otto offers Eric a bribe of 10,000 to spare his life. Eric, however, declines. As he prepares to strike Otto, the boy breaks down, crying hysterically and pleading for his life. Overwhelmed with fear, Otto vomits. Eric, however, reassures Otto by cradling his face and promising him that he won't kill him. Eric insists that he's not like Otto, who takes pleasure in tormenting those weaker than him. After this declaration, he heads back to school to gather his belongings. Suddenly, he recalls a past conversation with Gunnar, a lawyer who had once offered his assistance. Without a second thought, Eric reaches out to Gunnar. Soon enough, Gunnar arrives at Starnesburg. After understanding Eric's predicament, he decides to confront the principal, who is currently having a meeting with the faculty in his office. Eric begs the principal not to expel him and to return Maria's letter. Initially, the principal is stubborn, but his stance changes when Gunnar steps into the room. Gunnar threatens to reveal the school's widespread caste discrimination and bullying, issues that the principal and staff have conveniently ignored. Left with no other option, the principal agrees to Eric's requests. He dissolves the student council, formerly led by Otto, and allows Eric to continue his studies. Eric is profoundly thankful to Gunnar, as this means he can remain in school and finally end Otto's tyrannical rule. He spends the rest of his school days in peace, leading up to his graduation. His mother, filled with pride, tells Sid about Eric's achievements at Starnsburg. However, his stepfather remains unimpressed, pointing out Eric's poor behavior evaluation at school. When his stepfather tries to whip him again, Eric stands up to him, declaring an end to the violence in their home. He then banishes his stepfather from their house. Later on, Eric reunites with Pierre, who is preparing to continue his studies in Geneva. The two friends vow to meet again in the future.